Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this super cute baby penguin cake. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new videos every week and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out. That being said, let's get right into it. I'm starting out with two 6-inch cakes that I've leveled and cut in half. I've also cut the caramelization off the sides, and I'm going to be stacking those up with some chocolate ganache using my small offset spatula. I'm adding another little bit of ganache, and then I have a 4-inch cake that I've cut in half, and I'm just using one layer of that and placing it right in the middle of my 6-inch cakes. With my serrated knife, I want to start carving. I do not want there to be a gap in between that 4-inch and 6-inch cake, so I'm just going to start carving around the edges so I create this teardrop shape. I'm cutting into the bottom as well to round it out so her little bum isn't completely flat against the board. Now that I have the shape I wanted, I'm adding a thin layer of my chocolate ganache all around my cake. You can see the cake was really moist, so it was really crumbly. This was a bit of a challenge, but once the whole thing is covered, you're going to put that in the fridge for about 25 minutes to firm up. While the body was chilling, I started on the head. I have 3 layers of 4-inch cake here. You can see I did not level the top one. It's still a little bit round, and I filled that with some ganache, same as the first cake. I have a smaller serrated knife, and just like the body, I'm going around the bottom, the top, and the sides, and just rounding the whole thing out. I added more ganache to lock in all of those crumbs on the outside and then pop that in the fridge. Moving back to the body, I need to put in some supports before I can add the head. So I have 3 wooden dowels here that I'm placing just a little spaced out and then marking off where they're flush with the cake, and I cut them down to size. I used a smear of ganache to cover those up and then placed a little 3-inch cake board right on top. Once the head was firm, I gently picked that up and placed it on top of that board and then just took a moment to center it. I placed the whole thing back in the fridge just to chill a little bit longer, and then with my small offset spatula, I'm adding a thicker layer of ganache all around the outside of my cake to join the head and the body together. Once the whole thing was covered, it's going back in the fridge until it's chilled, and then we're going to add a final layer. I'm using some Swiss meringue buttercream for this because I will be adding coconut on top, and if any of the buttercream peeks through, it will be white versus the too dark chocolate ganache. I did my best to smooth it out with the spatula, but I did go back in with a piece of cardstock because it can bend to the form of the cake. At this point, it was looking a little too much like a peanut for my liking, so I went back in with my spatula, and I'm just making a more defined line where the shoulders and the head would meet. So this was the general shape that I ended up with. And I went over the whole thing one more time with that piece of cardstock to get it extra smooth. I decided to make the wings out of fondant, So I have this like sausagey type shape, and I've tapered both of the ends to be more narrow, and I'm just placing that on the side, trying to blend the top into the head so it's kind of seamless, and then I flared out the bottom a bit so the wing wasn't like directly against the body. I rolled out some white fondant and placed it right against the tummy, and then using my X-Acto knife, I'm just honing in on the shape I want. I completely free-handed this. You can make the tummy however big you'd like. I did the same thing for the face and cut out this like heart shape. Hopefully, just from watching me, you'll see what I was going for. In a bowl, I've mixed together some white food coloring with a little bit of black, and it's going to give me this gray, kind of a bit bluey hue. And then to this, I'm adding some shredded white coconut, and I'm going to mix it up. Before I add this to the body, I'm brushing down the wings with a little bit of piping gel. And basically, I'm just scooping up handfuls of that coconut and pressing it against the cake. I want it to go everywhere except for that white fondant on the face and the tummy. It definitely took me a few minutes to get the whole thing covered. You're gonna have to go in with layers. If you're finding that it's just really not sticking in certain spots, you can add a little bit of that piping gel, even if it's just against the buttercream. I really want the coconut to frame the face and belly, so I'm taking more of my piping gel and just going all around the outer edge and then gently placing down my coconut. So when she was all covered, she looked like this. Using some pale yellow, I made her beak. I started out with a lemon type shape that I flattened against my work surface, and then using my 2 fingers, I pinched the middle into this like pointed ridge type thing. And then I added that right where the gray ends in the middle of her face using a little bit of edible glue. I added 2 black ovals of fondant on either side for her eyes, and then a little circle of white into each one for the catch light. To start on the ear muff, I have a snaky of pink fondant, and I'm just wrapping that over the top of the head. I have 2 equal-sized balls of pink fondant, and I'm flattening those gently against my workspace. I still want them to be pretty thick. I've dyed some coconut the same way I did the fur, just using pink and white, and I've brushed the entire pink ball with my clear piping gel, and I'm just going to roll that in the coconut so the whole thing is covered. To help the ear muff stay in place, I'm using a wooden skewer. Just be careful to inform whoever's going to be eating the cake that there is a skewer in there, and I've gently pressed on the ear muff. For the bow, I have 2 loops of fondant that I'm just placing right underneath the chin, and then 2 more strips of pink fondant hanging down, and I just made sure the bottoms weren't too close to each other. I added a little button of pink just right in the center to cover all those seams. I made 2 little pom-poms the exact same way I made the ear muffs, and I'm pushing those into place using some dried spaghetti. To add some eyelashes, I have some black food coloring on my fine tip paintbrush. For the board, I'm taking just straight up coconut and placing it all around the bottom to look like snow. And And then for the last step, I have 3 little balls of that pale yellow fondant for each foot. I've just stuck them together and I'm putting them right underneath the pom-pom so they're just spaced out a teensy bit. And this was the final result, guys. I actually think this is like the cutest cake I've ever made. It's adorable, not to toot my own horn or anything. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications bell for whatever that does. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.